from the Grotto with Hanna. Greg, what's going on, man? How are you?
Doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Fantastic as well. And our guest today is Rusty Austin. He's the reality TV guru, and we're going to find out more about some of these reality TV shows he's been working on before, and retired, then now author. Everyone goes to author, Greg, and I think it's because it's something that you finally create for yourself. As an author yourself, Greg, wouldn't you agree?
I originally started writing as a marketing giveaway, right? To get people to understand what my expertise was and how great my company was and so on. But as I've gotten older now, it's more for myself.
Because it's your brand, it's you. Greg, go ahead with your first question for Rusty.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm pretty excited to talk to you for obvious reasons, right? Yeah, some of the stuff that you've been on, I'm a big fan of, especially Hell's Kitchen, that you produced and so on. So what storytelling lessons have you learned from, let's say, Survivor, Hell's Kitchen, Survivor, 9/11, that you've carried into writing your children's books, if any?
One thing you learn in reality TV is with reality, we shoot the show and then we write the script, and scripted, you write the script and then shoot the show. So what you end up with in reality is hours and hours and hours of tape that you have to hone down over many edit sessions to get the final product. So, for instance, on Hell's Kitchen, we shot in about a 400-to-1 ratio, which means we had to go through 400 hours of footage to find 1 hour of television. So that's really helped me with my writing for kids, because what I try to do is make the poems really short and sweet, not more than about 12 or 15 words and 4 lines.
I gotcha. So my favorite thing on Hell's Kitchen, they have 10 seconds left and they have about 30 minutes left of cooking to do. And all of a sudden, all the plates are done.
Exactly. You got to remember, dinner service lasts for 2.5 hours and we show you 10 minutes of it.
I'll start for you, Rusty. Hell's Kitchen.
I actually graduated from UCLA way back in 1988 from UCLA Film School. And then I worked on movies for about 10 years. And the opportunity to do Survivor came up, which was like the very beginning of the reality TV boom. And so I jumped on that and just rolled the wave.
Wow. So looking back 40 years, 4 decades in Hollywood, what's one memorable behind the scenes moment that best captures the intensity of producing reality TV?
I've got a good one. I was on a show called Nanny 911 maybe 20 years ago. And Fox had got in a bidding war with ABC over a British show called Super Nanny, and ABC won the bidding war, and so Fox invented Nanny 911 and wanted it to get on the air before Super Nanny. So it was really a 24/7, 365 operation. Sundays, Saturdays, it didn't matter. I figured out if you work 3 weekends in a row, I left 26 days in a row. And anyway, what would happen is all the Fox executives were super invested in it, so they would want to come over and screen every 3 days, and they would call about 1 o'clock and say, "Here's that Starbucks coffee order." And they'd order like $160 worth of coffee, and I'd have to have guys go pick it up, and they'd come, and then they'd call back and say, "Oh, now we're not coming until 3. So we all drink the coffee, and then did it all again, and then call back. "Now we're not coming until 5. And so finally, by the time they showed up, we were also wired on coffee. It was pretty funny.
The connection of Nanny 911, I remember because I was a Super Nanny fan, and I also liked Nanny 911 because of this different spin on things. Do you think you took any of that to write in the children's books? In a way?
Yeah, I learned a lot from the nannies, especially Nanny Deb. She had a very understated or calm demeanor, I would say. And I think that's carried over into my writing to not get too excited or too low or too high or anything like that. I'm going to keep an even keel.
So, Rusty, you've been entertaining millions of adults on TV, right?
I guess you could say that, yeah.
So what's inspired you to focus now towards entertaining and educating children through your books?
I grew up in Colorado, and that's like an outdoor lifestyle. So you get a lot of weekend camping trips and wildlife, nature and fishing and like that. And so that's something I always wanted to get back to. And then early on, before I came to Hollywood, I edited a newspaper. So I did do some writing and I've done writing short stories and stuff off and on over the years. But then when I finally settled down and looked around for something to do, I thought this is the perfect thing. I can connect with the kids and it's fun for me. I like doing it.
So my background, former professional wrestler turned teacher. I did substitute teach in kindergarten, and that's a story, but I ended up student teaching in 2nd grade, taught 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade for years, and middle school and high school. So I understood that process of how to entertain kids. Because if you can entertain kids, you can entertain anybody. Yeah. And I remember I'd have to almost stand on my head at times, especially in middle school, to keep middle school kids going. So how do you picture in your head how your stories are going to entertain and keep them engaged like you were able to do with television?
I think the really important thing is to keep it short and sweet and have a humorous illustration. And also, my books are non-linear. They can open to any page they want and read one of the poems, and it makes sense. And also, at the end of all my books, there's a do-it-yourself section, so the kids can get their crayons or whatever they got and write their own poems and make their own pictures.
Wow. So your new book, right?
Yes.
Awesome Bird.
An Awesome Bird, the Pelican.
Yeah. So can you tell us about the pelican? He's got some playful stuff. He mixes rhymes. He does stuff with real animals.
Yeah. The thing about the pelicans are, I've seen them feed over the ocean, and you get a flock of like 30 or 40, and they dive from about 50 feet in the air, and it's just utter chaos. So I like that about them. And then the poem goes, an awesome bird, the pelican, he keeps in his beak his food for the week. So that's 10 words, right? And that's sure enough for any kid to get by. And the way the book actually came about was I was on a website called Donors Choose, which was a kind of a GoFundMe for teachers. And one of our local teachers was asking for money to buy poetry book for her 7th and 8th graders. And so I contacted her through the website and said, I'd love to come in and read one of my books. And so I went in and read my book, The Unicorn is One Horn, to her kids. I was there. I just saw the passion, and the kids were all so eager to learn that I pitched her the idea that we should have the kids do all the illustrations for the next book, and that's how it came about. And she loved the idea, so she organized the whole thing. And there were probably 40 or 60 kids that did pictures. And it took a good 3 or 4 months for them to get through it, but she told me they were really looking forward to it. They'd work on it for 2 hours every Friday. And the axolotl was like the favorite thing the kids did, and then followed by the toucan. Those are the ones they liked. And like I said, I only had 40 poems, and I had, I think, 60 kids. So what I did was kids whose pictures didn't get chosen for a poem, I put them in the back of the book. So every kid gets a picture in the book.
Oh, that's
fantastic.
great.
Greg, I think that we just figured it out. From Hell's Kitchen to Survivor to Nanny 911. Nanny 911 led him to his children's book. Or we would think these are going to be pretty graphic children's books if we were talking about the other shows. In a way, because of different things. Now, when I think about specifically enough entertaining kids, I'm sure you took so much from a nanny, because a nanny has to be 24/7, 7 days a week on. Did you also want to be a teacher too? Those are two points to this question.
You have to lead the cast along. We have a whole casting department. That's like the most critical part, I think, of the process, is getting the right people in place, because you think it's just reality. Oh, you just go on the street with a camera and shoot people. No, we very carefully winnow through the cast and make sure we have those kind of personalities that make sense. And I think that's what the nannies, that was a process. We probably looked at 30 or 40 nannies and chose some of I guess I would say they were the sweetest ones. Like I think the easiest on the kids.
All right. Fantastic. Greg has a final question he asks our celebrity guests. Go ahead with that question, Greg.
Okay, Greg.
Yep. I'll ask you one quick one first. So you have a do-it-yourself section in every book?
Yes.
And what made you come up with that super awesome idea?
To be honest with you, I was visiting those kids in that class and seeing their passion for the poems and the pictures and how much they love. So I thought every kid should have that same opportunity as I'm giving these kids. So that's how that happened.
That's fantastic. All right, Rusty, I'm excited. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, it's with rustyawesome.com, an awesome bird, the pelican.
That's great. So here's the question for you, Rusty. Tell me, what do you feel is the most important thing in life you've ever learned?
This too shall pass. The tough times, you forget the bad and remember the good. And at my age, that's very important. And I learned that a lot from the television business, because it's so chaotic and the deadlines are so strict. And this too shall pass.
Great advice.
Rusty, last question for me, involving that whole putting that together production. Where do you think content's coming from now? Do you think content's going to be we're really in a slow time right now, Hollywood and different places, and television is on its deathbed, meaning streaming's coming. I see every television station going under. I don't know what those TV stations are going to do. They're going to have local news and then put other type of programming on. That's an opportunity for creators. But what do you say to these independent creators? Do you think we're going to see a huge buzz of independent creators in movies and television because of budgets and not wanting to do specific projects?
I think we're already seeing that. The problem, though, like you said, the budgets and the money just isn't there. Like for a network TV show where they spend $4, $5, $6 million a week, and then you get on a streaming service like Netflix, and Netflix is a bad example because they have a lot of money, but a lot of these shows are on a shoestring budget, and so I don't know where that's going to lead, to be honest with you. It's a real problem. And I talked to my friends about it too. A lot of the editors that we hired are making less money than they did 10 years ago.
So what do you do? Final questions. What do you do to continue this process? Television. What are all these television stations going to do once the programming just goes to streaming and not stay on the stations?
Yeah, it's going to be like one giant endless YouTube, I think, is what I think.
You think the television stations will close? Radio survived. That's where
Radio
I'm
survived. That's right. Yes. And they do a lot of good local programming that people are interested in. Like I watch shows about, I think one's called Palm Springs Weekend, where they go and visit like restaurants like that, concerts and whatnot. And those shows are enjoyable. And then that can help them to do that kind of stuff. I just don't think the network affiliate programs are going to just be there. Although maybe, like I said, radio did really well. And
they never died.
Yeah.
Radio never died.
Yeah.
And I don't think television will, but it's an opportunity for creators out there. But I appreciate it, Rusty. Website one more time.
RustyAwesome.com and Awesome Bird the Pelican.
All right. That was the special simulcast of Neil Haley Show and celebrity interviews live from the Grotto with Greg Hanna. Guys, take care.